Now, in the first of 4 programmes exploring popular culture in Scotland, Odyssey goes to the dogs.
The Greyhound, lithe hunter from the race of Afghan, Saluki, Borzoi, Irish Wolfhound, Scottish Deerhound. Keen of eye and swift of foot, for centuries sporting companion of royalty and nobility who once jealously guarded their exclusive right to possess the breed. War dog of Celtic legend, pet of Roman senators and guardian of the Pharaoh's tombs. All this means nothing to the punters at Wallyford.
Go on, Duffy! Go on now, Duffy! Man!
At the Gaff tracks, like Wallyford, beyond the rules of the Greyhound Racing Club, the dogs are a way of life. The Greyhound is the working man's racehorse. He is owner, stable lad, vet, punter and trainer. Gambling has always been his obsession, and it's in the old mining areas that the passion for the dogs lingers longest.
My idea of the dogs is if your heart's riding a race and the dog racing, it's time to pack it in. Because you're actually, men went out of business, you've got families broke up, people spending their rent money on it. I said, if you use it as a hobby, if you've always got enough money to, I said, winning with your dog is actually feeding the kennel of dogs you've got. If they come into the racing game to make money, you always find the biggest majority of them go out skint. Well, you start off schooling them with a stick, with a hair, a lure on it, when they're young, about, say, start about 7 months. And then you start teaching them for the boxes, bringing them through the box, walking them through it, pull them out with a stick with a box. When you put them with the old dog, it learns the good habits of the old dog. Like you going into the hare, he'll find it, the young dog will do exactly the same thing. He'll go back into it as well, you know. And it's just the excitement of and the challenge that you've got to teach them the challenge of the race. So when they're running up to the winning line, they're going to try to win. And if you've got any bad faults in them, you've just got to get rid of them. They're no good to you, you know.
At Wallyford, dogs change hands by the 100. Some, rejected through injury, come to amateur vets like Bob Goodall.
That's to stop infection. Come on now. Now. Oh, he's a bad boy. Come on.
Everywhere there are greyhounds, there are the docks, whose skills are gained specialising on the one animal. And the dock has started countless dogs racing again.
Make a bit noise here.
But in the flapper tracks, the trick is to stop the dog running to its full potential, till it's got a few yards starting the handicap, then you put the money on and let it fly. Methods of stopping dogs and hiding the fact are the stuff of doggy legend.
To do that, you would prepare it just the same and put this scent on, as I call it. It's an imbrication, and the public smells this, you see. And say, oh, well, that's a try of the night. It's just to kid the public on, actually. And I gave myself a bit of spray, you know, down there. If there's anybody standing near, they have the smell off you, and they'll say, oh, that's a try of the night. 9 times out of 10, the dog stopped, you know.
What are some of the traditional methods of stopping dogs?
Myself, I can stop them with my massage machine, you know, just give them a good massage before the race. They go to the race, they look quite fit and that, but they've already run a race on the table, you know, so they're tired. so they don't trap as they normally would. And they run a race, but they're not extending themselves the same, you know.
What about simple methods just before they get into the trap?
Well, this is a thing that if you don't get the price, you know, if you have 2 or 3 boys there that you know that's going to bet your dog, well, one of the things that I do is I have cotton wool, and after the handicappers check the dog, just slip a wee bit of cotton wool down into the eardrum itself. Now, it doesn't harden the dog at all. All that it does, it doesn't hear the hair. So if it doesn't hear the hair, it misses a break at the traps.
What about seeing? That's all important for a dog. Can you
Well,
manipulate that?
I have overcome that and all, you know. It's not a thing that you like saying much about, but I carry a wee jar of Vaseline in my pocket, and if it's an inside hair, I've seen us put a small smear of Vaseline over the left eye, so as the hair's actually past the dog before it sees it until it comes into focus with its right one, you see. Now, if it's an outside hair, you do it in the other eye, and nobody sees. You do that at the last minute, and there's no...
And that slows it down just a second or so that it needs.
It's just, it lets the rest away, it misses a break, as the saying goes at the traps, you see.
Is it very much a battle of wits between you and the handicapper?
You and the handicapper and the public.
The Doc's latest protégé is Trigger, a big bounding hound that's been sleeping at the traps for 2 months.
Well, he's run in the track roughly 5 or 6 times, and he's never actually tried it. That's it in a nutshell. You know? So they'll no need the camera on Friday for him. It'll be that far in front. Well, we're up every morning, just the back of 5 o'clock. When we go outside, the daughter generally goes away to the left. Now, myself, I possibly sometimes go straight on down round the golf course, or I turn right and go way down through the farmer's fields. This is for the nosy persons that's watching you training your dogs. You don't actually know which ones you're putting the work on in the morning, you see. You actually see them. I see them often. Men that goes to the dogs are kicking out their curtains. Or you see them on the golf course on the pretence of looking for golf balls. But they're not looking for golf balls. They're seeing whether you're giving them any training stints on the golf course. Steady, steady. Come on. Come on, son.
With its tunnel vision, a mechanical hair to the greyhound is flesh and blood, its will to win, the instinct to kill.
This is to gee them up to see the wildlife, the rabbits, hares, etc., squirrels, even foxes. It's amazing what you see when you're out early in the morning. Oh, it's a stimulant for them. Really gets them really keyed up if they see a rabbit or a hare, even a roe deers. They just go daft. You know?
Before the explosion of greyhound racing in the 20s, the breed was exclusively a landowner's coursing dog.
Now kill it. Yeah.
On yourself. All the fun done in there.
Lay off and let him escape, you silly
Well, I mean, it goes back in reality to the pharaohs who had long dogs in Egypt. And gaze hounds, they're really called. They're hounds that hunt by sight and not by smell. And you can have the deer hounds, which in medieval days we used to chase deer and bring them down. And coursing properly, as we know it now, started in this country, organized coursing in the 1760s, 70s. And it used to be a sport which There was all the tenant farmers, yeoman farmers, and the butcher and the baker and the candlestick maker all owned dogs. But since the war, a lot of them have dropped out, and some of the big landowners who had dogs and promoted the sport, they've dropped out. And anyhow, we've managed to keep it going here, and hopefully it'll go on again.
And then, the bitch, after this is the bitch puppies, final, 2 and 6, and then the dog pups, 4 and 8, and then the final of the cup.
Coursing, the hounds are wild, live on the ground. They know where they're running to or want to get to. It shows the natural attributes of the coursing dog, which the greyhound is and started as, is to chase a live quarry. And as you saw yourself today, the hare can usually beat it. And it's the dog that sticks closest is the best dog and has more chance of getting its quarry. Now today we had upwards of 50 beaters, and the great art is to get the hares coming past the 2 greyhounds, which are hidden behind a canvas screen known as a shy. The hare comes past them, is given 200 yards law, and the greyhounds are then slipped, i.e. released. The hare then either escapes through a fence or is killed. The kill counts for nothing. There are no points for that. Very well.
Well, help yourself. Here's the cheese, gentlemen.
Oh, Lord, no.
Doesn't take red faces,
Grand, isn't it? Lovely day. Forever amber.
I'm sorry, you've got a foreign body in it, but it'll come to the top. I don't think the whiskey will kill it.
Thank you. Absolutely great.
While the few coast with greyhounds, the masses took to another variation of the breed.
What kind of men kept the whippets?
Just boys like myself, miners.
It was miners.
It's all miners nearly.
And did they keep them just as a pet?
Well, no, some of them kept as pets, just like one in the family, but a lot of them got to be gone after rabbits, you know. Aye.
The Fifers weren't the only ones. These Ayrshire miners hunted rabbits for sport and necessity during the lockouts and strikes of the 1920s. But the whippet was also a source of gambling. At the big whippet meets, foot racing was an added attraction. Betting against yourself was common if you happened to be wearing a lead belt to slow you down. Stopping and starting appears to have been a national obsession for man and dog.
I started with a wee pistol, a cape gun.
Aye.
And they just, you got your puppet, you go this way, and you see nothing, and you just drew it back, and when the gun went off, you had to try and mark it round on its hind legs.
And was there ways of stopping it and making it slower if you wanted it to lose? What'd you do?
Maybe just get a grip of the tail or pad or twaties with elastic, maybe rubber rings.
Aye.
Aye.
Did you throw it too hard deliberately, for example?
Oh, you could, you did that.
And what would happen then if you did that?
You sort of staggered.
Aye.
Oh,
And did that slow it down a wee bit?
Oh, aye, aye.
And it was a lot of jookery-pookery went on.
Oh, aye. Used to get them springers, players out to make them run.
Aye.
And players for to stop them. You know,
So it went on in these...
maybe give them a big feed. Blow them up with pies or something. Oh, in the pub.
Probably the last of Scotland's whippet slippers, Davy Lumsden has since passed away. But at the Kirkcaldy Whippet Club, his favourites are still petted and cared for. There's no gambling, no powders, no stopping, just racing to win. The rivalry is no less intense, and like the old days, the dogs run to the whistle, the call, the bunnet, or the old tin can of the owner. The pampering of the whippets is paralleled among the greyhounds, but they're indulged for different reasons. The sport is big business. The dogs a lucrative investment, with owners exploiting the elements by land and sea to gain that extra yard.
It's a good workout for them. It's cool, and they can get as much space and as much galloping as they wish, and they come off and their feet are, instead of being injured, you've got some nice white feet with the sea water, like, you know, and it's good for their feet.
And how much are you prepared to pay for a good dog?
Well, without giving trade secrets away, we've gone 2-3 grand, £2,000-3,000 for a good dog, like, you know.
How can, paying out that kind of money, how can they ever pay themselves?
A little bit of luck and a few good bets, they can cover themselves. But I think in the whole, the bookie's the only winner, not us.
But can you bet enough money at the gaff tracks to get big money back?
Certainly, easily, if you're prepared to put enough on. You know, you get £1,000-2,000 on.
Really?
At some tracks, oh yes, easy, with the greatest of ease.
Given the amount of money you're prepared to pay for a dog, how can you afford ever to stop them to get a mark?
I think it's the other way about. How can you afford not to stop them? You just got to wait and be patient, you know.
But people think of stopping dogs, they think of drugs, etc. How, if it's costing so much money, how can you afford to stop it? How do you stop it?
No, without the use of drugs, that's for sure. The better the dog is, the less inclined I would be to use any type of drug. And because we keep decent dogs, we don't use the drugs. Like good gallops a day, keep them on, give them a good walk, a bit of feeding. Just generally hold the dog a few yards, and then that's enough.
The best laid schemes of man and dog gan after Grey. Hugh's latest, a 3,000+ dog from Ireland, broke its hock in a trial before it ran a single competitive race. One of the most popular champions at Wallyford also came from the elite breeders of Ireland, Wattie Dunsmuir's noble pooch, Rusty. Amazingly, among the hard-nosed dog fanciers, there's a soft spot for Rusty. You see, Rusty is that rare phenomenon of the gaff track, the dog that's never been stopped.
For Rusty, I don't need to stop him. You know, you can't stop him because since I've had him, I've never stopped him. He's never ever run off. The more he's had to do, the more he's done. And he's got everything. He's got starting ability and he's got finishing ability. And he's just brilliant when he's running around bends. And he can run from the back and he can run from the front. He's really an exception. Strangely enough, at Wallyford, where he does 90% of his running, 99% of his running, you always get a price about the dog because they've always got one in to beat him. He's won a hell of a lot of races that he shouldn't have won, you know what I mean? I think it makes him feel, it feels good in himself when he's had a bath. He jumps and he always seems to find a wee bit extra when you do give him a bath. You know, this is something we just found out. The bath seems to bring him to life, you know. He seems to, well, you know, like you are yourself, but he seems to spring to life with a bath. It's amazing, you know, you'd have to see it to believe it, you know. On the day of a race, Rusty is walked at 4:30 in the morning. He's walked at 8:30 in the morning. He has his bath at 3 o'clock. He has sherry about 4 o'clock. Then he has sherry and an egg about 7:30 before he goes running. But he runs every Friday in life, bar he's injured, and he seems to know Friday night. And it's always, at Wallyford anyway, it's always about the same time he runs. You know, and he knows he's not got to get fed at that time before he goes racing, you know.
It's race night, and Trigger, the Doc's racing certainty, heads out. He's got his mark after weeks of creative stopping. The question is, how many punters are in on the secret? Will he get the price? Will another previously stopped wonder dog come out of wraps and beat him? Everyone thinks he's one step ahead of the next man. That dog's been fed. That one's impersonating a bitch that's running elsewhere. One's changed its name, another its colour. Hairdressers are frequently asked advice on the latest dyes available. Wits are pitted, tricks are traded, but it's all still hit or miss. Remember, the dog doesn't know he's supposed to be stopped. Frisky with his second sherry, it's like any other Friday for Rusty, but tonight there's the track championship at stake. Money and prestige for the taking. Present and past glories are fine, but for doggy men like fishermen, it's the one that got away that provides the crack. Even perfection can be blown. Addy controlled all 6 dogs in the one race.
Well, there was 4 belonged to me and 2 elsewhere, chaps I knew. So I went and got them. So they gave me the dogs to take to my kennel to do what I liked. So the 5 were stopped, the 1 trier. It didn't win.
It didn't win?
No, didn't win. And Hit won the following week. Went, took it back, and it went out the park the following week. Just one of these things in dog racing, which goes to show there are no certainties.
If there are certainties, the bookies often know about them before they open their books. With years of receiving intelligence and counterintelligence, they're pretty astute, and I'm afraid Trigger's bid for gold is an open secret. Bob, remains philosophical and optimistic.
You don't need that camera tonight after they trap something.
And is it possible still to get a good return for a dog like that, even if it's not that price?
Oh yes, aye. You still show quite a profit on it, you know. Well, a wee bit disappointing, you know, but we'll still get the beer money, as the saying goes, you know.
And what kind of money goes on a dog like that, a hot favourite?
Oh, there'll be a few £1,000 maybe the night in this race, you know.
You keep paying it.
Two on the bell. Only two on the bell, Paul Bar. Only two on the bell, Paul Bar. 2-1 on the bell, Paul Bar. Brother, eat bet you for George.
There's no standing back to see how the betting is going in this race. The storm of money is on trigger. Despite all the intrigue, the prices generally tell you that there are only 2 dogs with a real chance in any race. Here, it looks like there will only be one, unless Bob has sold us all a dummy, bet another dog, and slipped the cotton wool in Trigger's lugs at the last minute.
The Trap Championship is the 12 days, 285. We'll meet in the kennel after this race.
Get on, you beauty! Get on! Get on there! Come on, son! Get on! Get on! How far? Come on, oh, son! Get on, you big beauty! Get on there! Away!
That's a fighter.
I told you need your camera there tonight.
1 by 1.5 lengths, a short head between second and third, time 16.02, 16.02.
So I'll have to go and see if I can get the bookie off his stool now. Yeah.
In the flush of victory, you can even kid yourself on. In Rusty's race, there's no kidology. It's just a straight dash between him and his rivals. Or is it?
Tamasha number 5.
What do you think of Rusty's draw tonight?
Not so hot.
Do you still think he can pull it off?
No. He'll be there or thereabouts. I'd rather have seen him inside. He likes inside, you know, but we'll see.
So you're disappointed?
No, not really. The dog's run a good race. He's run a good race. He was just badly drawn. That's what the game's all about.
If he'd been on the inside, would he have won?
Oh, it'd been hard to say. He would have come out here one night, you know, but he likes inside, you know. Okay. But he's run a good race and under the circumstances, you know. He likes inside, yeah.
I suppose something like 9 wins out of 12 or something, it's pretty good going.
It's not bad. You can't win them all, you know. This is the one I wanted to win, though. Yes, that's what it's all about, though. Can't win them all. Give me a son.
Next time.
Oh, you'll be back. You'll be back. Yes, sir.